It began as any good dream should, with bursts of joy and optimism. When King Alfonso XIII decided to allow elections, socialist and liberal republicans, supported by the poor, intellectuals, anarchists and communists, swept to overwhelming victories, and the Second Spanish Republic was born. Its constitution established many rights for the common man, removed special status for the Spanish nobility, declared the right of regional autonomy, and sought to secularize the country.
When
the Second Republic was proclaimed, there were great expectations. There was the hope that we would have a fairer, more open society.
But the flame of hope flickered out in just 2 years amid the poverty and unemployment of the Great Depression. Conservatives won the next election and rolled back many of the changes. The left, incensed, countered with a general strike, but it was shut down by the army. Farm workers' wages were cut in half, and Republicans were removed from the armed forces, deepening political divisions. In 1936, power swung back to the left, when the Popular Front, a broad coalition of liberal and socialist groups, eked out a parliamentary majority. The political divide quickly became a chasm. The right, consisting of the military, conservatives, the Catholic Church and the elite, feared for the very survival of Spain. President Manuel Azaña further inflamed the situation as he began reinstituting changes from 1931 that hindered large farms and the church. At the same time, anarchists began pushing Bolshevism, and some conservatives joined the fascist Falange Española. Multiple militias formed on both sides. It was a battleground for idealists. Violence escalated, culminating in a series of assassinations that finally killed the dream of democracy. The Civil War exploded with a coup led by General Franco and the army, who believed he was saving Spain from the communists. His nationalist forces began in Morocco, then seized Spain's west and north, while Republicans managed to hold the south and east. The Nationalists grew stronger, with immediate support from the Nazis. Mussolini added 100,000 men and more firepower. The undermanned Republic, without most of the army, had to arm its citizens and turn to the communists of the Soviet Union for help. Support also came from Mexico, and from an unexpected source.
Many citizens in democratic countries felt that what was being decided was relevant to their lives, and so they came to fight with the international brigades.
More than 40,000 volunteers from 53 nations joined the Republicans, including a group from distant America known as the Lincoln Battalion. All fought alongside Republic soldiers and helped defend Madrid until the waning moments of the war. Noted author George Orwell also served in the conflict, while American author Ernest Hemingway reported on the war, and it became an integral part of his novel For Whom the Bell Tolls. It's been estimated that more than 500,000 people lost their lives during the conflict, as idealism gave way to senseless violence and atrocities on both sides. It was an endless, grinding war until Franco tried a new tactic. The nationalist plan was to target major cities instead of industry.
What was new was the idea of massive bombing. At first of very specific targets, and then with the intention of terrorizing the civil population. These bombings, which were very intense in 1937 and 1938, and until the end of the war in fact, meant Barcelona was the first great metropolis to be bombed on a massive scale.
At first, my father would take us up to the roof to watch. He made it into a fireworks display so we wouldn't be afraid. But eventually the bombings increased in intensity, and we would just huddle together in the middle of our parents' bed, waiting and worrying.
To better protect themselves, the people built an unprecedented number of underground shelters in record time, likely saving far more lives than the anti-aircraft guns.
These ordinary people who fought fear and who kept their faith in the future are extremely important, for they remind us that all of us are able to do a lot more than we think to overcome such difficult situations.
Living under the constant threat of bombing took its toll, slowly draining away the will of the people and the Republic.
We never knew when the planes might return, and we were cold. In the winters of 1938 and 39, we would wrap ourselves up in blankets and still be cold. It was dreadful.
In January 1939, Barcelona fell, and Madrid soon followed in March, bringing to a close the Spanish Civil War. While combat ceased, tensions continued to smoulder, and supporters on both sides endured episodes of persecution until Franco's death in 1975. The unimaginable carnage of this dark time lives on in Pablo Picasso's Guernica, the story of a bombing attack that destroyed an entire village and its people. Other remnants of the past have also endured. Thought-provoking museums bear witness to the human tragedy that unfolded here. It was a time of senseless violence, polarization, and divisiveness that must never be forgotten.